Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. Just setting my news. We got some news coming up in around about 30 minutes. Market is just open. So, load that news. There we go. Okay. So, we still haven't filled that gap yet. We've filled a chunk of it, but not all of it. So, it'd be interesting to see what happens today. We did slowly just come down and down and down and down. So, I think it's kind of looking like that. So, hey, Speedy, hey, dear, my friend. So I played around with this channel, whether it goes from here and goes kind of like that. And then we've had a break, new low, and this could kind of be a retest. So I'm a bit on the fence here at the moment. It's a tough one. I mean, this kind of looks like it's bottoming, but my concern is because we've continued down and down and down that we fill that gap. Let me just put a line there so I know where it is. So it's about there. So let's just extend this. Let's call it all-time highs for now. So let's lock it and extend right. So we're not far off it actually. So it's one of those things. You could put it like that. It kind of works as well. With a break and a new low. In fact, touch. That actually looks about right, I think. So if you'd have taken that big bearish bar there, didn't trigger you on the first bar, luckily, but it would have triggered you there if you held in, come up and stopped you out and then shot down. So that for me, the move's already gone, I think. It's about 4 points, so it's quite high. So look. So we're not far off that gap, so it'll be interesting to see if we go down and fill it. Let's just keep that down here. I am going to trade evaluation. I've got one more evaluation. I'm going to trade that on the news. I don't know what that news does as a rule. Consumer confidence and job openings. They're both at 2 o'clock, so I'm going to have a go anyway. So still can't do anything here at the moment until that gap fills. We're a bit too close for it now to think about moving back up. But we've had a channel down here, a break, one push, and what looks like a second push down. But I think there's a fair chance we're only a couple of points. Oh, look at that. We've almost filled that gap. I'll be surprised if it doesn't actually. There we go. Gap filled. Sorted. So break. 1, 2 pushes down to a new low. So that's kind of played out. So now, just trying to think, there's going to be liquidity down here, I would have thought. So, interesting to see what happens there. I don't automatically want to take a long. Usually that first one triggers and stops out. So I'm just going to sit tight and watch that. News is coming up. I am going to trade an evaluation, but I've got that on my separate chart above. So it never triggered, but it did. Push down a touch lower. It may just clean off the cobwebs here. So got a nice channel working down there. I like that. Fits really nice and snug. Touches beautifully there, and right there as well. So so it's broken down below this level here. So is it going to go any further? Who knows? I mean, we could have a leg and a leg. If we are going to have another leg down, I would suggest we have a break here and something a bit wider. Okay, so it looks like we're getting a break. I'm not automatically going to be looking for a short here because we fill that gap and we've kind of bounced around here. So I'll see how it looks. I was just trying to see if there was a bigger channel down there that may come into play at some point. Possibly, I'm not sure. It's a bit too early anyway. I just want to try and get out of the game and think, okay, could it bounce here somewhere? Excuse me. So nothing there, big bearish bar, but way too far for that EMA. Even if you were looking for a second entry short, really, it's kind of floating in the middle of nowhere there. There is possibly something wider, but it needs to come up here and confirm it, really. So I'm just going to keep that in mind. Just going to stick something like that there, just to see if it comes up to this area. Let's give it a couple of legs as well. So it's kind of like a triple test almost, that, wasn't it? It wasn't far off. So let's put that there and just dangle this and see if it uses it. Let me have a look. If we do, we'll break below this level, which would have been Friday, I'm guessing. Let me just have a quick look at the look at the daily. Okay, the daily, we've kind of got a leg down. We could get another leg down, kind of like this and this. Maybe something like that. Push up. So okay, excuse me just a second. I've just got someone coming to my front door. Excuse me a second. Sorry about that. Sean, how you doing? Could also be a spike and channel. Yeah, it could be. I just want to see what happens if it comes up to this level, but we've got a leg down. One push up, second push up, and then down again. I'm going to say if we'd have... So look. Yeah, I thought about that. I've sort of hung that from there and from there. I think that one might sort of be better. It's hard to say, isn't it? But yeah, it could be. Trouble is, what I don't want to do is for it to come up here and go short, and then it pulls back up here. So I'll have to have a look. So, but yeah, sorry, looking on that, we certainly could come down a bit more. Kind of like a leg and leg. That's on a daily. Let's have a look at the 10,000, see if that's giving us anything. Probably not, actually. Come on, 10,000 kick in. So, I mean, that to me just looks like one channel down, really. So that looks like we're kind of in one channel, but we've broken these lows. We haven't quite got down to these, so it's a bit hard to say at the moment. Get rid of that now. So, let's just drop something like that in somewhere and see if it decides to sit somewhere. Let's put that, say, there. Somewhere like that, see what happens. So we got a leg up and a leg up. That's very tempting. It's like a hidden second entry short, that. I prefer to wait for the lower high, though, because we're not quite at this level here. Just looking on the NQ as well, actually. I've just got an evaluation. I'm going to trade that on the NQ, but we got two legs up. Channel down, 2 attempts to push high, and a bearish bar. Well, if this finishes bearish, I probably expect this to come down. So at the moment, we are looking bearish on the NQ, I think. So I'm sitting out of this because we've sat above the EMA there. It hasn't triggered anyway. And if this is some kind of spike and channel, there's still a bit more of a gap. So I'm just going to sit and wait a little bit. Because now we fill that gap, we could push up some, and that to me looks like a channel. Yeah, so someone's just posted that literally just now. He's kind of thinking the same thing. And you did as well, Sean. So there's a few of us thinking here. So now we need to give this a minute. Now, if I bring this down, sits kind of nice there. So I'm guessing that is somewhere. Now, what we can do is give that a little bit the benefit of the doubt. We can squeeze that in a few different ways, but if it goes much higher, might just have to change my thought process. So really, we're kind of just going sideways between sort of this level, really, aren't we? It's probably going to end up doing this leading up to the elections, which is a week away. A week away. Well, it's Monday, isn't it? I think next Monday. Johnny, how you doing, buddy? Have you considered trading Forex futures? I actually started trading Forex, not futures though, just Forex. See, I am not what I would consider an experienced trader. I've been trading now coming up 4 years. Now this, you can be doing this 10 years and still not call yourself a very experienced trader. So I don't know what the benefits would be. Now, my understanding is, listening to Mac, he's been trading the ES for 20 odd years. And what I do know, because I often look at the NQ, is they have their own characteristics. And I have been trading just the ES for the last coming up 3.5 years. So I don't know whether it benefit me, getting used to another chart or something. I don't know really. Sometimes if you've spent so much time on one, you've kind of built up a bit of an understanding how, the type of characteristics that exist within the ES. So I don't know. I don't know whether it would help. In all honesty, I don't think it really matters too much what strategy or what chart you trade. The real challenge, of my understanding, is that psychological side that we all have to deal with. So no, I haven't really thought about it so much, bud. So I'm going to ditch that now. We're in a channel up here, and that is a little overshoot. So if this is something larger, maybe this may lead to a push down. We've also found some support there. And you can kind of see it there, can't you? It's kind of sitting on there, and then kind of some resistance it's finding there. So there is a lower high here, but I don't want to take that in case we get a second entry long. I'm looking at it as a little overshoot, but I'm pretty sure, see this gap here, I'm pretty sure I could adjust that to there, adjust that, and a presto, no overshoot. So I'm going to sit on this at the moment. Now there is a possible second entry here. It depends how you see that channel, whether it's got a break or not. If you go from there to there, maybe it hasn't. You could draw this multiple ways. Now that is a second entry long. How do I feel about it? I'm really not sure. It doesn't just jump up at me all of a sudden. I like to kind of get a feeling about a trade, and that isn't giving me it. I mean, even if I keep that tight to the bottom, still a bit of an overshoot. So that isn't, I don't even have to, I can see it's a second entry by the count, but I either get a feeling now I like it or I don't, and this isn't just doing anything. And I tend to, I trust that feeling now, and it saves me a lot more than it doesn't. So that is just not exciting me. So there's a small overshoot there. However you draw this, I've just looked on Thomas's as well and someone else, but I got a small overshoot. So Thomas Wade has got it fitting, but I just it doesn't excite me, this one. Now let's have a look. Push break new low. So that is more of a second entry. But I'm just not sure about this at the moment, because if we have got a spike in the channel, this could be a break and pushing down to a new low. So it's not very clear for me at the moment. We've got some news coming up in 10 minutes. So I wish you could have something on here that starts to flash. Because although I've got it there, sometimes you're that zeroed in on the price action, you kind of miss what's right in front of your nose. So it'd be nice to have some sort of flashing object here. Get this to flash as we're coming up to the news. So there is a second entry there. It has broken below there. It's probably not that bad actually, but it's massive and it ain't finished yet. And we got this news as well. So it's 22 ticks, for God's sake. Tick above it, tick below it. I ain't risking that. Not a chance. Tick above, tick below. You'd be risking 6 points. I'm not risking 6 points. No siree, Bob. Although, by the looks of things, 2 legs down, there's been a reasonable amount of buy in there. I think there's a fair chance it can get up here, but it's not enough for me. I go for 3 points. Connecting the bottoms. This is the top of the channel. Connecting the bottoms. Read that again. Hey, Jay, how you doing, buddy? Connecting the bottoms. This is the top of the channel. Connecting the bottoms. Are you coming from here or something, are you? Top of the channel. Where are you coming from, bud? Oh, sorry. Right, you're going from here, aren't you? I'm assuming it must be that. We've only really touched it twice, so it's not necessarily confirmed starting it. Is that what you mean, mate? Is it? Yeah, 758 doesn't mean much to me, mate. No. Down channel. Down from the top here, you mean? Oh, right, okay. Sorry, 758 down here. I thought you were talking about 758. Sorry. So you're on about from here, aren't you? So top of the channel. So you're on about doing that, are you? Yeah, I'm not saying it isn't, mate. It could be. Yeah, it could be. It's a bit early, really, because we have got this bit. Now, I don't mind having a big vacant piece here if it's fitting nice in the bottom tier. But it doesn't necessarily. Or maybe as it is. Maybe it is fitting there somewhere, but you may be right, mate. But at the moment, it's a bit hard to be able to put my trust in there and think about going short here. Do you know what I mean? So I think at the moment I just need to let's have a look. I need to state the obvious and put it where I am. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Don't get me wrong. I'm always looking for bigger moves. It just makes you aware of if it gets to a certain area. You know, when you start having a break and coming down, you start looking for spiking channels or other channels. Obviously, because if we come to a certain, I mean, for instance, there's a higher low there. In fact, that's 15 ticks. I think there's a fair chance this is going to push up here, but this news is in about 6.5 minutes, so it could go a bit sideways here. So. There could be a second entry short there. So you may be right, mate. But at the moment, I don't want to get into a trade at the moment because if you do get stuck, it's hard to see what's going to happen. But Taylor's gone long here above that. I'm just not sure. I mean, a channel with a break, high or low, you would probably expect that to work. But for me, the picture is a little bit obscure at the moment. And not only that, we've got that news fast approaching. So, but looking at it, you would automatically think, okay, channel break, big bullish bar, high or low, yes, it's going to push up there. It probably will. But it's taking its time, and that news is in 5 minutes, so. Yes. Yeah, see. Taylor's in this. Someone's put way too close to the news. I got 6 minutes. The trouble is, when we're coming towards the news, sometimes liquidity dies off and this thing goes a bit stagnant, but it has worked. I mean, you would probably expect it to. Channel break, big bullish bar, high or low. But it's just a bit too close to news for me. I go for 3 points. Have I got that? So let's go a tick above there. So there's 3 points. So, okay, so that would have worked. But I got no issues at all with leaving it. Mac will usually say 15, 20 minutes before the news you want to be flat or something like that, 15 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. But It's a bit too close for me personally, but it depends. If you trade an evaluation, it might not bother you. In fact, talking about evaluations, now this news, if I remember right. Now, if we weren't waiting on the news, I think that would have been worth having a go at, because we've had a break and a new low. But you don't know whether it's going to trigger you, and maybe there is sort of maybe a little bit of support along there, so you don't know whether it's going to trigger you and come back down a bit before it pushes up. So but if you took that, there's nothing, no issue. I've got no issues with taking that. It's just not for me. Thomas Wade's in it. So Thomas Wade and Taylor took it. So, but it's just a bit too close to the news for me. Now, I can't remember about this news, whether it... you took it as well. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, we got a channel. You can see there's two legs down, big bullish bar, high or low. I don't see a problem with the trade at all. But it's just a bit too close for the news for me. Excuse me. OCO order. So...
Order submitted.
Market.
Order submitted.
Market. I'm just going to have a go at one of these OCO orders on an evaluation on the news. On the NQ, though, you seem to have to move a lot less on the NQ, so I tend to prefer it, sorry. So, news is in 2.5 minutes. Yeah, if it was a little bit more, if we had a little bit more time, 15 minutes, then I'll have had a go at it. So, where are we with the news? A minute and a half. So, let's just join this up here. See if this... Okay, news is in about 30 seconds.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
It didn't work. Why didn't that work? Should have done. I think it shot up first before it shot down. starting to do that a lot lately. Spike up and then down. Oh, sorry. Let me have a look. Let me see if I can. I should be able to. It's all right. I just disconnected. It'll connect again in a minute. It's down about 7,000. I think I had it up here somewhere. Let me have a look. Where's my tools? Here. So I think it triggered it there and then shot down and came out there, I think. Yeah, I had an order up here and an order down here. So it hit that order first and then shot straight down. It's doing that lately. Sometimes it'll just rocket in one direction. But that was just an evaluation. I don't mind doing that with evaluations. So, funnily enough though, and it often does this, look how it's still respected the top of that channel. Okay, so it's got close to that measured leg. I see you have a code for Take Profit Trader. Have you given it a try? Yes, I did. I did it. Was it a week ago, a week and a half ago? It's one of those ones where you pay a one-off fee, very similar to My Funded Futures. You pay a one-off fee. I think it turned out about $104, and that covers you for the evaluation and any PA. There's no extra fees. You don't pay anything extra for the PA. I am pleased that a lot of companies are doing that. The only issue I have with that is with Apex, they've got a cheaper evaluation and a cheaper PA. Whereas if you pay $102 and you fail the evaluation, that evaluation's cost you $102. Whereas if you fail the evaluation like I did on that news, it cost me $33. So I kind of like the way you got it split up. But it depends how aggressively you trade your evaluations. But they're a company I like. So what I will say as well is I'm starting to hear some concerning things about Fast Track Trader, so I'd be cautious there. I don't like the sound of that CEO. I don't know, he just doesn't sound like a professional business to me. You know, his language, it's not the type of thing you do, really. It doesn't come over as very professional. So I'd be careful there. But I hear good things about My Funded Future and Take Profit Trader. So there are a couple I've had a go at. I haven't got one right now, no. Excuse me. Fast Track Trader won't be. Yeah, I. Just quick question, guys, as well. Someone purchased 3 evaluations from My Funded Futures yesterday. Just a quick one. You paid $80 each, which is right, But if you use UKFT, you save an extra $4. So there is something that says code there. So just want to let you know. So you could have saved yourself $12. So just keep that in mind. That I get a commissions. I think it's about 10% if you use my link. But if you use the code, you get an extra. It's only $4 off, but it all kind of mounts up. But I just noticed it showed. You don't get that with Apex. You don't get emails with Apex if somebody uses your code, but you do. And I just noticed 3 popped up. So just keep that in mind, whoever it was. If you put UKFT, it will save you a little bit. I mean, you know, I'll get 10% of that $80 you paid, which is $8 for me. So if you use the 4, it's a little bit less commission for me, but it doesn't matter really. I'd rather you sort of get your value. I don't want it to cost you anything more. So just keep that in mind. I'm not sure it was. I know Jan. I'm pretty sure Jan uses it a bit. Excuse me a sec. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think I know Jan uses it, I think. But yeah, just keep it in mind. You can get a little bit extra off there. So, right, let's have a look here. So channel down, break, 2 pushes to a new low. So yeah, ordinarily, if we didn't have the news, I'd have had a go at that one. But my only concern is it starts going a bit sideways when you're stuck in the news. That's what you don't want. Okay, so this channel is touching the top really nice. So we're getting a couple of legs down here. But what I've got to be careful of, that there's some sort of support along there. Just want to be careful we're not, sort of pushing down and ended up topping off at a range. We could laying down some range highs there. Sort of leg and a leg. So just got to be a little bit wary of that. Okay, possibly a second entry long here. I just don't like the look of this. For me, it's got to get down to here, really. Unless it goes sideways and drops out of it, in which case it's probably going to get down there anyway. So I'm just going to sit that on there, somewhere, maybe there. Somewhere like that. So touch at the top, touch at the top. The top's fitting nice, so it's pushing up nice and strong. I like the way we've got 2 clear layers. I love the way that news shot up, but it still respected that top of the channel. So we've got to come a bit sideways here or whatever. I'm just not getting involved here. It's a bit too early in my opinion. My experience, sometimes you've just got to be that little bit patient. Sometimes these will trigger you, stop you out, and then drop out and give you an absolute beauty down here. Still too risky, in my opinion, that is. They fail all day long, they do sometimes. You took it. Yeah, I mean, it's a second entry long. My only concern is it's just not close enough, really. If it's starting to go a bit sideways, or I'd rather it sat on here with a bit of a tail. There's a lot of vacant area here, see, which it could slip in. And I've taken them before, and they'll trigger you, come back down, stop you out, and then give you an absolute fabulous trade here. But just because they work sometimes. But I don't even have to think now. I just get a feeling, and I either like it. I suppose, you know, the more time you've been in trades again and again and again, sometimes you've been stung, you tend to remember that picture. And that to me is just saying, just be careful. And the high low before the, yeah, I mean, the setup was okay. I think it was something like 5 or 6 minutes before the news. So the only thing I noticed there as well is there's getting a little bit of support there. So you don't know whether it's going to trigger you, come down a bit and go sideways a bit. Because we've actually picked up this channel now, so it could have gone a bit sideways to here. And there's nothing worse being stuck in a trade when it's in the red, and you obviously have to come out. So I tend to just avoid them. So let's see if this comes down, takes out that stop. I think this line here is vulnerable. There's a lot of space below here. So my personal feelings is this is vulnerable. So my gut feeling is this is going to come down, stop out that, and stop out that. All this area is blank. Now, don't get me wrong. You may adjust your channel to here, something like that, or something like that, in which case you may think differently, but just from what I'm seeing here, that is vulnerable. And if this thing comes down and picks off that, same again there. I wouldn't take a trade that far off the bottom. I mean, if this is kind of going sideways, which it is, we're kind of nearly, by the time you take that trade, 2/3 of the way to the top. So I've been stung by them many a time. So I'd expect that to get stopped out, which it did, and this. And if we can get a nice second entry long down here, we may get somewhere. But I am also aware as well there is some support along here, or some resistance rather. So you may get into something here. It may trigger you and start to come down, and in an half an hour's time, we may be in a range down here. So Same again, that one, if it ended up second entry long, it's just still too far. I don't like all this space here. Bar's not finished brilliant anyway, so I'd like it to break below there and just to sort of fill this little area here, because there's a bit of a vacant space here. It's fitting so nice at the top that I want it to kind of come down here. And then to give us kind of two kind of full moves there, and kind of the same really. Something like that. A leg and a leg, but it's got to get lower than this really. That's no good for me. I mean, it could just keep on going. If it's a strong enough market, it's irrelevant. I like to see two clear pushes down and to take out liquidity. As we know, these things hunt for liquidity. So there'd have been some below there. So once it's cleared that out the way, then I think a lot of traders will have orders down here. So they stop these obvious trades come out, and the smart guys getting down here and kind of wait. Well, I say smart guys, the ones with the bigger pockets. So I'm going to move that up a bit. Something like that. What's this? Get rid of that as well for now. So we are finding a bit of support here. 1, 2, 3. It could be a triple test. Depends. It's just hard to say. But I wouldn't even be interested until this thing showed us, at least got below all these things here. So that one clearly got 3 points, I think. Yeah, it did. Did that one? I don't think that one did. No, it didn't. So 3 points, you'd have to get to there and then push through. So that second entry long didn't work. So that is bound to get stopped out for me, I think. My concern is we're struggling to get up from this level, so lag and a lag. I'm still not a fan of this. I don't really want to take a trade here close to that top again, because we are struggling to get up there really. Zoom. We're going sideways really, so if it's ranging in an uptrend, it's really only down here for me that would really interest me. Drop out the bottom and sit on there, somewhere about there. I can't see any other way I can adjust this channel to fit any better. Fit in really nice at the top. We've got a touch here, touch here. It's got to get down here really to confirm it properly before I'm interested in going long. Thomas Wage took that. I'm just not sure about this, so if you get in there, I know Thomas goes for 2 points. There's such a lot of support up here. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing goes lashing down. You're in it, are you? I'm not sure about that, mate. Break even though, yeah, it's just going sideways. The trouble is, if this channel is valid, which it looks like is, it's not even touched it yet. So it's kind of going sideways. I'm waiting for it to touch it, drop down below it a bit. So I think there may a few people are going to get stung. Yeah, I hope it works for you, bud. Oh, you're out break even anyway, aren't you? But it's, you know, there may be some stops below there. So that for me is just a little bit. I hope it holds because there's a few people in there, but I fear it won't. Go on, push up. Go on up. Up. Actually, we're on here now, so you may get a lifeline. Well, whoever took it anyway. I'm surprised it came down that far. It doesn't often do that, come down that close and not stop you out. But it did connect with the bottom of that, so maybe there was some buyers down there. Yeah, see, Thomas took it and it bounced off his order and then came down, so he may get away with this if it holds. So his profit was one tick above there, well, more or less there actually, so he may be okay. That's quite strong buying off there, so I think that's encouraging, but it's still going sideways, so you just don't know, do you? What I will say is, out of all those bars, that looks the safest one, but there is space below there. But look where that's bounced, right where you'd expect it to. So I don't think it's a bad. Go on, push up. Okay, so if anybody took that, I think you'd be all right. But you got out break even. It could have so easily gone against you, that, mate. So I think break even, in the way things are at the moment, was probably the better option. But you just don't know. It's not often it comes down and bounces there. Whenever it gets that close to your stop, it almost always takes it out. Because you get that sort of dreading feeling as it's coming towards you, don't you? Thinking, oh crap, here we go. And then you can't sort of believe you got away with it. But it's clearly going sideways until it finds some interesting buyers, which are really going to be when it gets to this line or a bit below. I did consider buying there, but you just don't know, do you? Because you never know where we're going to hit a kind of a range eye there. It was finding some serious support there, so 5+ points lately. There's definitely something in going for more points. I absolutely agree. In the right circumstances, if you're in an uptrend, absolutely, I think 5, 6, 8 points somewhere around there is ideal. You know, I mean, something like this, you have a leg down, and if you had an absolutely beautiful correction, I say hold on as long as you can. Do you know, I was watching a podcast that was interviewing a trader who'd been trading for over 30 years, and he said the best traders he know, that when they're in the trade, they milk it for every bit they can get out of it. As soon as the trade starts to go south, that they get out of it quick. So I think there's a lot said about holding on to a trade. I think in the right circumstances, if it's moving in a direction, I think absolutely. Look at that, look, straight up. So we had this little sort of drop down when the market out, and then we had 2 pushes up. So I dare say there's probably going to be some stops. But that is an overshoot now. So let's see if we just end up ranging. Break even at 460, yeah. Let it play out, yeah. Yeah, I definitely think it's worth trying to get as much as you can out of these markets. I mean, good setups now are few and far between. There's not as many of them as there was a few years ago. That's my opinion, anyway. Now, why is that? I mean, we hear stories about these sort of super maths geniuses programming these markets. They obviously look at how people are trading them, and we all we know about stop hunting and clearing stops and stuff like that. So the only thing I can sort of take from it is you have to wait for a really solid setup where lots of traders get in. I suppose the more buyers at one point, in an uptrend, the more chance you got of, the more chance you got of pushing up. I mean, if you look at that one, we hit that line there, we had a strong push up and it continued up. Same again, we hit that line, strong push up and it continued up nice and strong. So maybe that wasn't such a bad trade. I mean, it's sitting exactly where, that hit that line, then took off. It did exactly the same there. So maybe that wasn't a bad place to go long. Obviously, someone thought so, because look how that's pushed up strong. And obviously, we know these things. Sometimes, in an uptrend, we'll go up, we'll have a couple of legs down, then we'll go up, a couple of legs down. Sometimes we'll go sideways. But usually, when we come into contact with the other side after going sideways, we do often push up. So maybe that wasn't a bad way to enter there. So there's definitely an area down here where there's some selling going on. We got close to it there. So it's interesting to see, as we've got there, we've got a really big 21 tick bearish bar followed by another large one. So once it got up into this area, sellers pushed that down and there was an overshoot. So yeah, absolutely, yeah. I did mention we had that couple of legs down. We had 2 attempts to go higher, so there's definitely going to be some stops there. Took out some of those. And also once it got into this area as well, how far is it going to come down? This is when we'll find out whether we're in a range or not, I suppose, won't it? Let's have a look. So this is definitely looking bearish now, so I'm guessing there's a good chance we're could be in a range. We do spend a lot of the time, so much of the time ranging nowadays. Leg down. Hey, Jan, quick question, Jan. Did you purchase 3... I don't know if you mentioned it. Did you purchase 3 My Funded Futures using my code yesterday? The reason I ask is it came up that 3 had been purchased at $80. So if it is you, bud, if you use UKFT, it doesn't make me anything that you're using UKFT, but it will save you an extra $4, bud. No, it wasn't you. Okay. I just thought I'd ask. I noticed $80 put up, and I'm thinking if you use UKFT, that doesn't get me anything. In fact, it makes me less commission, but I'd just rather you get them for 76 instead of 80. It all mounts up. Okay, so here. So is this going to come down here? Quite possibly. See, whenever we get an overshoot, I hear Thomas Wade talking a lot about we still need to make a new high. But I kind of don't see that. Sometimes we will, and then sometimes we'll drop down using your code. I am not using my phone. Okay, but all right. I can't remember if it was you or something I was talking about a while ago. I just didn't notice you were in earlier, so I did mention it to everyone, but they just could have saved themselves $12. That's all. It actually makes me a little bit less commission, but it's irrelevant, really. Market decider in a bit, probably won't test that. Yeah. I mean, I'd be looking for a short here, really. I'll know if Apex rules have all settled down yet, been documented for a single location off video. I think things are getting better with Apex. The main things I've noticed, we're getting no issues with Rhythmic, which is good. Whether that's down to Apex or not, I don't know. The trouble is, when the rules are a little bit, I don't know, they're just not very clear, they can decide to sort of say, well, we want, you know, where they say we want you to trade sensibly. What does that mean exactly? Your sensible might be slightly different to mine. No rules are for evals. No, evals, you can do whatever you want. They've never changed the evals. You can do whatever you want on the eval. I trade mine on the news, or just trade 10 contracts, and I tend to go a bit stupid on those. But no, it's good to have the rules clear, because if it's not clear, it's open to interpretation, and that's where we sort of get that grey area of problems. So I got no issues with the maximum risk of $750. It tends to keep you in line, because if you do decide to get a bit wild, and, you know, sort of range trading cuts in, that might just be an extra reminder. So I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm glad I'm not hearing stories about people asking for videos, because I think that's a load of crap. You shouldn't be asking people to prove it's you. It's up to them to prove it's not. Why should you have to make a video? That's not in the that wasn't in the rules. If you don't think it's me, if you think I'm trading on a bot, or if you think someone's trading for me, that's down for you to find out yourself, not to say to me you want you to prove it. But so I think that's gone out the window. I haven't heard any stories lately. So I will be looking for a lower high here. Now, it may go up and try and retest, but that's quite a strong move down after an overshoot. And I am starting to think that this is, you know, looking like a range. Big strong move up there, which is triggered. I noticed the rules of fast track trade, and they can take your money with it. Yeah, exactly. You can't do that. You can't do that. People spend a lot of time and a lot of money trying to learn to trade, and they give all their money to a company. And when they start to be able to trade, as far as I'm concerned, you should pay them. But I have heard stories about fast track trading. That CEO to me just comes over as a bit of an idiot. You know, a professional person like that, you shouldn't be in these chat rooms gobbing off and swearing at people. It doesn't come over very professional. And I think that says a lot about someone. So I haven't had a go. It doesn't interest me spending $200 or $400 or whatever it is to get straight into a live account. But I understand people who use them. You know, everyone's different. But I would just say be careful. There's so many of these companies. I was watching one of, I think it was Kellyanne's videos. Was it this morning or last night sometime? And there's some other company coming out now with Straight 2. I like to sort of give a company a bit of time just to sort of find its rhythm really before I start putting my money in. That was Replicant issue. Apex, we're monitoring IP addresses and the timestamp of executions. Replicant didn't realise and remove the data from. which allowed the scam to continue. Did they really? Okay, so people were, because I was getting pop-ups on my Facebook, well, every other day, saying we'll trade your account for you. We'll pass it. If you don't, there's nothing to pay. The trouble is, there's always scams in every walk of life. So, I absolutely get Apex wanting to get on top of it. Unfortunately, it affects us all, doesn't it? It's like, car insurances are expensive as they are because people play the system. They get an old battered car and they ram it into a wall and claim for it. Or, I'll tell you what started getting big in this country a while back. People jumping in front of our cars or backing in it on a push bike and claiming. There's so many scams. Unfortunately, it's the sort of decent people like us that end up, paying for it. Let's get rid of that. So I absolutely get Apex. I mean, we've only heard a few stories here, but if you're a company and you are being targeted by scammers who are not playing the game properly, you've got to look into it, and it does affect us all, unfortunately. I can't imagine. Oh no, life would be so much simpler, mate, wouldn't it? But they definitely, I think when we sort of first heard that interview from John Skelton, they were definitely talking about the Alpine trader. So, I mean, what he was doing wasn't wrong. It wasn't illegal. It wasn't really even immoral. He was just fitting in the system that he'd been given. But I think his mistake was when he kind of televised it, really, by doing his live streams. And he did say that he didn't want to show anybody what he was doing because he was concerned that Apex would stop him. Well, there's a red flag there straight away. He shouldn't have said that, because straight away that's going to prick ears up. And then everyone started, realising what he was doing. And that's when John Skelton mentioned, all of a sudden, we started paying out a lot of money, and so they definitely. But I'm pleased they just stopped him from doing it and then let him carry on as normal. He wasn't really doing anything wrong. The rules were the rules. They didn't say he couldn't do it, and he was just sort of playing. That's not what I call scamming. That's just playing with. That's playing within the rules. There are big companies out there that work in certain countries and get away without paying billions of tax. But there are legal loopholes. You can't blame people for trying to hold on to as much money as possible. Absolutely. Because you could never trade like that in the real world. If you've got $2,500 to play with, which he had, which cost him $85, you're only risking $85. Whereas if you put $2,500 your own money in an account, you can't treat it like that. One loss and you've lost it. It's gone. So absolutely, he had to be. But I'm pleased the way they did it. They didn't give him any grief about it. They just did it, reset the rules, and he was allowed to continue trading, which is good. I'm glad they didn't ban anybody or anything like that. He didn't necessarily do anything wrong as such. Unfortunately, his trading methods was a little bit sketchy, to say the least. But I think Apex were just victims of their own success. I think even John Skelton suggested they literally doubled overnight. I absolutely believe it. You just can't cope. You don't start up a coffee shop, call it Starbucks, and employ 3,000 people, do you? You start and you build slowly. Unfortunately, some companies just rock it and they can't deal with it. Sam, how you doing, my friend? Good morning to you. See, I pretty much played by the rules right the way along. because I just assumed they'd be monitoring them. I didn't realise I could have entered in here and just gone for a massive move and withdrawn. Don't get me wrong, a couple of my early payments were a little bit sketchy. I did revenge trade a little bit, and I got a bit lucky and just managed to get it over that $2,600 line. I mean, don't get me wrong, I blew way more than I made, so... But some of mine were questionable. People got away with it for a while, so you know, if you've gotten away with it and made a bit of money out of it, you can't complain when they start enforcing the rules. What's going on here? Is there something wider? So we got a channel down here with a break and a kind of a matching low. Good out. I'm okay, mate. I'm okay. I'm not too bad. I'm maybe in the right direction. I'm slowly moving forward. So I'm okay where I am. I'm quite comfortable. Are we going to have a couple of legs down? It's just nothing I can do here, really. Just wonder if there is a two-tiered channel there. It may well be. So you got a big bullish bar there that's triggered, and this thing's starting to pull back. Okay, excuse me just for a second. Sorry about that. So we got a leg up. Yeah, there's nothing you can do here, really. It's just a little bit. Are we going to go up? Are we going to come down? I got no idea. In fact, Oh, no, it's okay. Yeah, sorry, Sam. See you, bud. I didn't see that, mate. Sorry. Just another pestering phone call trying to sell stuff. See, there may be a separate channel there with a break and a new high, so maybe safer just to put that there as a spike and channel. There is a break and a new high, so not sure about this. I'm just going to leave that where it was, because that was a spike and a channel with a break and a new high, so I don't automatically want to. Yeah. So you've had this push up. We could have two legs and then a possible move up. So going long here, I don't think this is the most sensible idea, I think. See, spike and channel with a break new high and a push down. So I don't know what's going on here, whether this thing is going to come down some more after this overshoot. We could have kind of a bigger correction, and then it could go up or it could come down. Now I got no idea at the moment. How long are we going for? 20 minutes. In fact, I'm going to leave this just for 10 minutes, 5 minutes. I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break while it's making its mind up what it's going to do. Make myself a quick cup of coffee, and I'll be back about 3 to 5 minutes. Right, what did I miss? Nothing really. So maybe should be able to pull back. One attempt, second attempt. Probably 2 attempts to push higher. My only slight concern with this is we've already been up once and we pulled back below that EMA, so I don't want to take a long year. Because it looks to me like it's struggling to get up. Not only that, it's kind of 2 attempts to push higher. I don't like this. There's definitely going to be some liquidity above this, so maybe it's going to push up. Unfortunately, it's only really a first entry, that is. Well, actually, technically, it is a second entry. I just don't know. It's a bit vague here at the moment. We could be rangy a little bit, in which case we're kind of 2/3 of the way up from the top. So, sorry, up from the bottom. So it's hard to say at the moment. Not only that, we got this big move down and a spike in channel. It could be 1 attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher, and this thing could fail. Tony, how you doing, buddy? Can you tell me where you got your New York London? Oh, that. They are just widgets, bud, from, I think was it Windows or something? They're just widgets. So just search widget in on Google it or something. I think it's just, I downloaded it to Windows. I think it was about £1.50, I think. But I mean, we've got the time up here, but it's quite small, and sometimes it takes a bit of time to zero in on it. So I kind of like there with a quick glance, I can kind of, see exactly where everything is. So yeah, it was about £1.50, mate. So just Google widgets, time. In fact, let me have a look. Desktop clock time widgets. Just Google that and see if that helps you out. But I'm pretty sure. I think it might be even from the Microsoft Store there. So have a look, see how you get on. But I like the fact that I can just a quick glance up and I know exactly what time it is. You're welcome, mate, anytime. So channel break, new high. This is starting to look a bit penguin style trade. Push up. So effectively after that overshoot, we've come right down to this side and we've had two clear legs up. You can see that leg and leg. Now if this thing pushes down strong below that EMA and holds down there, then I think there's a good chance it's going to come down to the bottom. But I don't know. It's just another one of those days. It's better than yesterday. It's certainly a little bit clearer. Yesterday was just soaring up and down, wasn't it? Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. It's just not the easiest thing, is it? This is kind of what you want, a little bit of fluid kind of movement. At least it's easy to understand. I mean, you know what we're looking for there, don't we? It's pretty straightforward, and same down here. Whether you get it's another matter, but when it's sort of whipping around and chopping around, like yesterday, sometimes you think it's going down, next minute it's going sideways. So it doesn't help. I mean, by the count, first entry. If the next bar breaks above there, it is a second entry long, but I'm not sure about this. We've clearly got support there, so it's a bit unclear about what this thing's trying to do. Well, I'm guessing it's trying to push up there, but it's clearly finding it difficult. So I do wonder whether there is something larger going on there. Not sure. So I'm just sitting tight. I mean, it's 15 ticks for a starters, and it closes right at the top of that line. So it's not something I want to get into because we could come down bearish now and trap that long. If this is a range, obviously we've got this area where it could come down to. It's just hard to say. It's just not very clear, and it makes trading a little bit more difficult. I don't know whether it is a channel like that or not, but so we can have a leg and a leg. It may hit this area and start to. I don't know is the answer. I'm waffling on a bit here. So a couple of ticks above there is a measured move. Okay, so that one got stopped out. It's just risky going into support anyway. It didn't go very far. So if you went a tick above here, you'd have got a point there. You'd have had to push through. So, leg and a leg. I'd say this thing's coming down to the bottom. It's a penguin style trade, I think. 2 attempts to push higher. Strong push down below that EMA. If you can get in there. Comfortably for the bottom. Let me just see if anyone's taken that. Not that I can see. It never came back that. If it came back, taking it around here is not bad. It would have worked. But we've had a pullback from this. Clearly 2 attempts to push up and then a strong move below that EMA. That for me is indicating we're likely to come and test these bottoms. If we'd have had a bit of a pullback there and got in there, I may have had a go at that because that's relatively clear for me. It's clearly struggling to get up. There's just not enough buyers up here, so there may be some more down here. Or it may just come tumbling down now. We've been up there. We've made clearly a couple of attempts to push up, and it's just not getting up there. So I'm going to inch that up a touch. That fits better. May just get the opposite out here, but I'm sitting tight here. We're clearly just ranging at the moment. I think we aren't really getting any further up here. You can clearly see there's a load of support up there, and it continues. So I'm not quite ready to look for shorts yet. It's looking like that. Okay. Yes, there you go. Someone's literally just posted that right now. And this is the penguin site here. So he's seen that. 2 legs up. Put his stop there. Got in there. He got in a little bit lower than me. And he's getting out now. I marked it a little bit. We can get a bit higher. Yeah. So clearly you can see there 2 attempts to push up, strong move below that EMA. Usually you put an order in there, but he jumped in there and I'm assuming he's out. I'd have it come back for the pullback, I think, if we get a pullback, but you can clearly see 2 attempts to go up and it's struggling, so push down. So I'll just try and pay more attention to those, and if I get obvious ones I'll have a go. That wasn't quite as obvious. I prefer the ones after the trend that pull back, the couple of attempts to pull down and then go long. But that's the kind of opposite. It's kind of the opposite from having 2 legs back and then pushing up. We've had a break, 2 legs up and then pulling down. So someone on the Penguins site took that. So my thought process was correct there, I think. So yes, he's definitely out there. His order was around about there, so yeah. So clearly 2. It was a spike in channel, and it clearly 2 pushes up. We got above here, but then this thing just dove down. So there was obviously a load of sellers here. So you'd think this is the place to go. Now I wouldn't have had the nerve to hold below that. I think Penguin himself tends to try and get 1-to-1. So if he gets in around about here, he stops there. He's out plenty of room from the bottoms. You don't know it's going to push below, but I'd have probably wanted to get out at these bottoms or a tick or 2 off them. Excuse me a sec. Excuse me just a couple of minutes, guys. Sorry about that. School's off at the moment. I've got my daughter here. So we got a channel down there with a break. Is this going to try again, or you're going to end up getting something like that? It's hard to say at the moment. So channel up with an overshoot, strong pullback, one attempt higher, second attempt higher, managed to get over it, then failed. Trouble is, when it's like this, you kind of never know where it's going to go. Is it going to get up to here? It's certainly struggled so far. But we've got a channel down there with a break. Could possibly be a hidden second entry short here. But God knows. I mean, if we are arranging, we've had a break out the top. We often get one the opposite side, which we have. So is this going to get up to here again? Quite likely. So the elections, are they on Monday the 4th? Something's happening Monday. Are the elections Monday or on the Tuesday? Are they 4th or the 5th? Fifth. Tuesday the 5th. Week today. I don't know what trading will be like. I'm guessing with a lot of people out of the offices and voting. Mind you, I suppose it's all done online now. 5th, yeah. I suppose most of it's done online. I voted in the UK. I went to vote yourself. You can do it online. I'm assuming it's most of it's online in the US, is it? I don't know. Some people like to sort of do it manually, don't they? They like to go in there, tick the card and post it in the box. Bonfire night to us. Mind you, we don't tend to get bonfires so much over here in the UK now. I mean, I remember when I was a lad, you know, all the kids around the estate, wherever you used to live, used to grab old settees and all bits of wood and whatever and just build a bonfire in the local green, set fire to it. But it's rules and regulations, just like everything now. We used to have a local pub up the road that used to have a great bonfire. They had a nice big ground there. Used to have a lovely barbecue. We used to meet up there, and it all got sort of put. You can't do it, you know, too close to houses. It's just all gone crazy, isn't it? Wait, you can vote for... No, we can't. No. Unless you're a US citizen. I think if you live in the country and you're a US citizen, you can't. No, we can't. I mean, I went and we had our election, didn't we? 4, 5, 6 months ago, something like that. If you're a US citizen, doesn't matter where you are in the world, I believe you can. But I voted in the UK. We had elections here. Crikey, was it 4 or 5 months ago, something like that now. Norway's on my list of places to visit. And a friend of mine spent quite a bit of time in Norway. He was in the Royal Marines, and I think that's where they tend to do their winter training over there. Obviously, there's no end of snow, but I'm a big fan of the Northern Lights. In fact, there was a program on TV in the UK a few years ago that I believe was set in Norway. Well, I think it was set in Iceland, but I believe it was filmed in Norway. What was it now? I can't remember. Excuse me a sec. Is that program I was watching? I can't remember. I've gone blank. Okay, so what are we doing? I say 4 trades. Good for you, mate. See you tomorrow. Yeah, you take it easy. It's just hard to trade this stuff. It's hard to know whether it's going to push up to the top or come down. Or you never know when things are going to turn. Speed channel up. 2 attempts to go lower. Oh, I've got no idea here. So we've had 2 attempts to push up and we're struggling to get up. This thing's going to give up the go at some point. Take a dive for sure. Okay, channel up, second entry long, possible failure. I don't know. I don't like this. We're clearly struggling to get up. Yeah, Thomas Wade's hit the hammer on the nail, pretty much. No trade zone for me. There's just nothing you can do here. It's just up, down, up, down. Is it going up? Is it coming down? Nothing. Nothing you can do at the moment. Clearly struggling to get up. We tried to make a new high there. We've had 2 legs up and this thing failed. We've had a couple of attempts and it's just struggling. It doesn't mean to say it won't, but it's struggling. Well, I'm going to give it another half an hour. If it doesn't improve, I'm done for the day. Not an easy day. It's just a shame that was so close to the news. Okay, there is a possible failure here, but I don't like this. That's 30% consistency rule gone. Yeah, there is still a 30%. So if you want to sort of withdraw at $2,600, one of your days, obviously, you probably know anyway, can't be more than 30%, which is what, $750, something like that. No, that's still there. I think there was rumours it was going to go up to 40%, but no, it's still there. I get why they do it. It stops people going for a big move, risking an account, going for a big move, and then just small amounts for the day. So I get why they do it. Okay, so channel break. We're clearly struggling to get up. Part of me thinks this thing's going to do a nosedive, but I've come to never just assume something. It's still there. They've just got a different, yeah. There was rumours it was going to go up to 40%. I kind of wish it had done, but the trouble is, what you don't want to do, if someone's waiting to withdraw at $2,600, if they happen to get a runner, mean, it doesn't make sense to get out your runner early, does it? You know, if the thing's rocketing up, you know, in the real world, you hold on as long as you can, don't you? Make as much money as you can. But I get why they do it. You know, people, you know, risk $85 and go for a $2,000 move. And then all they got to do is get $600 and they can withdraw. So I get why they do it. In fact, doesn't it go away? Yes, I use Jan's one, bud. The free one. I have got a free copy of TraderSync. Yeah, I've got a free copy of TraderSync. I have used it from time to time, but I've used Jan's lately. Nice and simple. No bells and whistles. Yeah, if I start making a ton of money, then I may, you know, upgrade to something else. But I have got you can see my little advert down here. I have got a copy of TraderSync. They've updated TraderSync. The only slight issue I have with TraderSync, for some reason, I could never get the pennies to match up for some reason. But it's cheaper than TradeZeller, I think. But I don't know, mate. I just have a trial of each, and then whichever one you sort of take to. It's what's the name who owns that, isn't it? The Asian guy, the guy from Dubai. Ab. I can't remember his name. I like watching his videos. Actually, I like what he's got to say. Trouble is, the thing is about it depends how you trade as well. There's that much information it can give you. You're probably only going to use a fraction of it. But I did watch a video of a guy who said he used to lose money on a Thursday for some reason, so he stopped trading Thursdays, and it gives you all that sort of data about when your most profitable times of the day are, when your most profitable days are. So. I suppose we're a one-man band, really, but, I get it as people sort of progress. It is good to look at all the details from time to time. My trading system's pretty straightforward. I tend to do the same thing. If I took lots of trades, different styles of trades, gone for a lot more points, then maybe I might use something a bit more complicated, but I probably take an average of 3 trades a week. So there's not such a lot of data, and I can't kind of work things out, you know what I mean? TraderSync. Let me have a look. I don't think I get any discount for it, but I believe you do. So let me just have a look. Where is it? There it is. I think it's in the description, isn't it? Link. I think if you look at the description below this video, mate, I think it's in there. Yeah, it is. I've not tried a TradeZeller. I know that affiliate code. Is there one down there? I don't know, mate, to be fair. Or do you use the link? You don't get no discount from it, but I believe it saves you a bit of money. So I don't think you get an affiliate code as such. I think if you just use the link, as one of my subscribers, you just get a discount. I'm pretty sure there's something in the description, isn't there? Let me see if I can find out. It gives me... Yeah, in the description, bud, I'll show you. In the description, it's there. I think you just follow the link, I think, and you get a discount. I'm not sure whether that's changed or not. It might still count. I'm pretty sure it is, but if you just follow that link, In fact, I'm going to get rid of that. I don't want to get rid of the link. I don't really want that on. I'll have to do it in a bit. I don't really want that on any more fast track trading. I'm just getting a little bit concerned about them. No, you don't get nothing for that. It just, as a viewer, it just gives you, as a subscriber, it just gives you a little bit of discount. So, possible ILO there, but you can't take that really. It ain't finished yet. There's no room, and it's just whipping up and down in a small, it's not, what is it, 6-8 points, something like that from top to bottom. 7 points, so there's nothing you can do in this really. I'm assuming it's making its mind up. Fast track. I haven't used fast track trading, bud. I haven't used them. They reserve the right to not pay. Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. That rings alarm bells straight away, doesn't it? How can you put that? It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's, you know what I mean? They sit there with their hand out all day long and we give them our money, and all of a sudden when you start to make money, you have issues getting it. You know, I've always had that attitude, no matter who you work for, you turn up on time, do your job. Yeah, she did. Yeah, I watched her video. I think it was either this morning or last night. But I'll tell you something, and I'll take my hat off to her. She made a video a while ago, and she made $20,000 in 1 month from commissions. From commission, just from fast track trading. Now I make about 120 for that. In all fairness, that's out of all three of the ones I've got on there. But she decided to walk away from, and I think that's quite honourable, to walk away from $20,000 a month because you don't like the rules and regulations, or you don't like what they're doing. You know what I mean? It ain't easy doing that. You know, $20,000 a month is a massive amount of money to get, you know, as an affiliate. So for her to come out and say, I don't like them, I'm parting ties with them, I think it's pretty admirable, to be fair. Basically says you are playing a game. There is no, yeah, you got to avoid that. I'm going to delete it off my thing later. I had it on, I put it on a month ago or something, but they seem to be okay when they come out. But I think any of these new prop firm comes out, I think you're always best to give them 6 months, because, you know, there's so many of them popping up. You just don't know what you can get. It's kind of the reason why I like Apex. I know people have a love-hate relationship with Apex, and I get it. You know, they got that busy and they just grew massively overnight. It was inevitable they were going to, you know, they were going to sort of crash and burn. But they have sort of dragged themselves out the pit. And it's kind of like why I'm still with them, really, because they're kind of all I know. And in all honesty, I've never personally had a problem with them. I've never had a payment denied. I've never had an issue, and it's not because I'm an affiliate for them. I'm just a small fish in a big pond. I'm a nobody to them. You know, I dare say they may work with the odd affiliate, but you know what I mean? I don't make videos like other YouTubers. You know, they get significant amount of viewers. That's not why I do it. You know, I treat people how they treat me. Just because someone says they've had a bad experience, as long as I've had an okay experience with them, I'm not going to change how I do things. So as far as I'm concerned, I understand why they've had problems. You know, I understand all the issues with Rhythmic. I know it's frustrating for them because they're getting masses. They, when they had problems, they were getting masses of emails, so it was affecting them as much as it was us. So I understand why, they got a lot of people's backup. They admitted they didn't handle things very well, and that's just unfortunately the downside to doubling your business overnight. It gets out of hand. You can't control things, and you are going to upset people. It's just life. It's just the way it is. But fast track trading, I've seen a few tweets. Not that I go on Twitter or anything, but I've seen a few tweets. The way that CEO talks, and he comes over as a little bit of a thug to me. I mean, we all use a bit of language, don't we? But if you're the CEO of a firm and you're talking to people, you've just got to sound a little bit more professional than that, I think. When we're out with our mates and sat at a pub with a beer in your hands, you talk like an idiot, don't you, half the time. But as a CEO of a company, there's a certain amount of professionalism you've got to abide by, really. Otherwise, you're just going to give people the wrong impression. He does sound like a bit of an idiot. I believe he's got a bit of a criminal background as well. I've heard rumours of that. I don't know how true it is, but I've heard a few things. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. When I was a young 17-year-old lad, I got into a bit of trouble myself. Nothing major, just the usual stupid stuff that kids do. But yeah, I believe, I don't know, something recently I heard something about fraud or whatever. So, I'll just be careful. But I think it's safe sometimes when you get a new prop firm. There's going to be new prop firms popping up all the time. I like to maybe give them a bit of 6 months and wait to get a bit of feedback how they pay people. I've heard people saying they owe me $50,000 or $80,000 I've in an account. It must be absolutely heartbreaking to have that much sat in an account that they won't pay you. I can't imagine what it must feel like, or I can only imagine what it must feel like. So there's nothing worse than spending a long time blowing accounts to finally learn how to do this, to be able to actually build some money and look forward to getting a decent payday. And they turn around and they mess you around. There's nothing worse than messing a guy or a girl around with their wages. You turn up, you do what you're supposed to. You should get paid on time, in my opinion. No excuses. So is this thing going to finally break these highs? It's certainly trying. It's certainly trying. The trouble is, you could think about, I mean, we're ranging, so, usually ranging, you're short the tops and buying the bottoms. But when we're trying multiple times to get up, I don't think shorting up here when it's looking like it's going to hit these highs that I want to really get involved in. So I just sent Daniel's chart, and he took that higher low just leading up to the news. I'm surprised, actually. I know he trades about 40 contracts. I'm surprised he got in leading up to that news, but quite a few people did. I tend to avoid that 15 minutes before if I can. And I believe it was about, I heard a few people saying they've got 6 minutes. Trouble is, you can get stuck in a trade. It could have so easily gone the other way, started going, there was a little bit of support there, it could have gone sideways. So Daniel says he got a 5-point runner, so if he got on a tick above there's 5 points, so he'd have got out around about here. I'm assuming he got out before this thing came back, and eventually had that spike. I mean, the news didn't do a great, I mean, it wouldn't have done you any damage if your stops down here. It wouldn't have done you any damage, but if you noticed, it actually pushed down and bounced right there. So if you'd have got your stop break even +1 or break even, it just hit that. How many contracts? 40, did I correctly? Yeah, I mean, he was doing 40 contracts, Reiki, 2 years ago. So he may go for a significant amount more. He's quite a youngish guy. I think he's only about 28 or 29, Daniel. He seems to be doing all right. But yeah, if you look back on Max showed some of his trades a couple of years ago, and he was doing 40 contracts then, so he could be doing significant more. thing is with trading as well, if you've got money, you know, when it comes to you got your skill level, I don't know about, you know, I certainly haven't got a lot of money. I've got a bit of savings, but not a huge amount, enough to tide me over for a year if I got into trouble, but that's about it. But yeah, I mean, he was doing 40 contracts a couple of years ago. I think he does 10 on a runner. Mac didn't make a video last night, did he? Is he away? I can't remember. I can't recall him saying he was away. But I went to look. I'm just flicking through the videos trying to find one. Finally now. I think that's one of Daniel's, I think. Yeah, it is. What was he trading there? So this is one of Daniel's there. You just move this over. You can see his account as well. It's his personal account there. Let's have a quick. I'll switch the sound off. But yeah, 40 contracts, and this was 3 years ago. This video was June 2021, so nearly 3.5 years ago. He only scalped. I believe he scalps for 6 ticks now. I have a chat with him once in a while. He's a nice guy. So there we go. Yeah, he just scalped. So 40 contracts. You can see his own count. In fact, Max blanked it off now, but if you look back here, but he's going for 22, 23. Yeah, just 40 contracts. And that was, he uses a runner now, but he didn't at the time. So yeah, 40 contracts. So, yeah, nice that. But yeah, you can see it's his personal account there. He said he had internet issues in an email. Not sure there, bud. But that was 3 years ago. So, well, over 3 now, yeah. I think last night, 6 ticks. It goes. Yeah. So, yeah, well, I'm assuming he has the same 40 contracts. That was 3 years ago. So I'm assuming as his pot's growing, so is what's it? Let's see, 40. Yeah. He used to do a point. And then he changed to 6 ticks, and rightly so. I think really my personal opinion is should be 2 points minimum now. I would say a starting point at 2 points, but it works for him. 6 ticks. It's still 50% more from coming up for a point. So Marco took that trade. Let's have a look. Yeah, Marco took that one. He's another good trader, Marco. He always posts his video, especially for newer guys. He helped me no end. I did look at that a bit ago, actually, and see is that a channel? It probably is, but he helped me a lot when I started. He's very supportive. You always get a nice, friendly face. You ever get any issues, he always makes you feel better. He's helped me a lot, Marco, as he's a nice guy. There's the first. It is a second entry, sure. My only slight issue is I tend to not pick tops and bottoms, not because I don't think they'll work. I'm not very good at them. It's not one of my strong points. And if I'm going to take one, I prefer it to break above liquidity and then sit below there. So it's not something I would take. So possible failure here. If we come off the top, but we've already hit the bottom there and pushed up. So it's hard to trade this, to be honest with you. I go for 3 point profit, and it's a 7 point range. So if you're taking a trade from the top and already like that one, tick below there, I go for 3 points. Well, you got to get the 3 1/4. So I'm just not a massive fan of picking tops like that. Hey Sam, how you doing, matey? Are you at work or are you trading? Someone's just put a post on Thomas Wade. Are you at work, are you? Someone's just put that there. Don't diddle in the middle. That makes sense, actually. I'm surprised he took that, but he's a good trader, Marco. So it certainly worked. But it did go a little bit sideways there, doesn't it? But yeah, I don't tend to have a lot of success picking tops and bottoms, so I generally avoid them. I'll go for lower highs, but I don't. It is a second entry short. We have got to break 2 pushes to a new high, but that's not gone quite as high I would have liked before it pulled back for me to have the confidence to get into a trade there. Sprite, yeah. He is, yeah. Marco is very conservative. But the trouble is, we all kind of have our favourites. We all sort of shine in certain areas, don't we? We have certain trades we like. As I mentioned before, I tend to avoid tops and bottoms. I don't have a lot of success with them, or I haven't done in the past. So I tend to avoid them. They just don't. I'm just not very confident taking them, but he knows what he's doing. Yeah, he does go for 6 ticks. He's a solid trader, Marco is. He's got a really... I used to like watching his bar by bars, but he's stopped. But I liked his attitude as well. He's very robotic, and I think that's a perfect attitude to have for a trader. So I think some people just seem to do well at trading. Others have really got it. It's like anything in life, isn't it? I used to watch a lot of snooker, and you've got some snooker players who've got to work their ass off, and then you've got others who just absolute naturals. They can just put a ball wherever they want. I'm not one of them. I've really had to kind of work and work. I think what lets me down is I still have that little sometimes let's have a go type thing. I'll take a risk, but I am doing it less and less, noticeably less and less. It's quite often now I sit in and don't take a trade. And it doesn't bother me. It used to. I couldn't used to do it. You know what it's like when you first start. You're itching to trade, aren't you? But after a while, you learn. See, that's another reason why I wouldn't take a short. So we got to break. And bearing in mind we haven't got a bearish bar, but it is trying its hardest to break that high. And I think it looks like it might do it now. It's closed above there. So we got a leg and leg. I just don't have much luck up there, really. There are times where I will have a go if it's very obvious, and it's, like an obvious triple test, then, I will have a go. So that's broken that high now, and they say most breakouts fail, and we've kind of got a leg with the break, so that might not be a bad place to short. I would tend to go for more of a lower high, I think, because there's always a possibility that there's a bigger channel. So we've had that leg up, we've gone sideways, so there's always a possibility we could have another leg up. So I would tend to avoid that first one. Often that first one gets triggered and stopped out, so I think it may be safer to take a lower high. But my concern is I thought we were going to fail. We tried multiple times to get above there, and we managed to do it eventually. Just by a few ticks. But I would prefer a clearer break, really, and then a lower high. Then I may have a go back to the EMA. There's enough space at the moment. I go for 3 points. So not only is it a setup, I've got to think about have I got 3 points? But I am getting better at just taking a trade now, and if it loses, it doesn't affect me like it used to. It is about being comfortable with losing, really. It kind of so feels unnatural, especially when you don't get a lot of trades and you get a few winners. It can be heartbreaking to take a loss, although it's perfectly normal. It's part of it. But trading, it's very different, isn't it? I mean, if you've got a business, and let's say you've got a van and it breaks down and you've got to pay £500 to get it fixed, you don't think about it twice. It's a business expense. You just pay it. Whereas you lose a couple of $100 on a trade, it kind of feels like your world's coming to an end. It's weird, really. It is just a business expense. Nothing more. It's the cost of doing business. But we don't really see it like that. The only issue with taking a short here is we got a channel up with a break. So it could go higher. There's always a possibility this thing could push up some more. We got some kind of tops up here, haven't we? So it may end up here. It could be a leg. We could get up here somewhere. It's hard to say. We've come down and cleared this area or bounced at this area. So we haven't got a second entry there. We've just got 3 bars, unfortunately. Fortunately, no lower high there. Trouble is, we're back to the EMA now, so. It's nothing worse than it's slow. God, I wish it'd speed up. I certainly think, given the right circumstances here, a short ear wouldn't be a terrible thing. We know most breakouts fail. That one has. But we've only come down to that EMA, so it's kind of hoping this may trigger. Maybe we get a lower high here. Trouble is, this has still got a slightly bullish feel to it. I was just trying to see if there was some sort of a spike in a channel, but it's not obvious. I think it's definitely more just sideways. But it is whipping up and down a bit. That's a real shame that wasn't too close to that news. I didn't stop a lot of traders taking it. I thought it may have done. I tend to avoid 15 minutes. I believe people were talking about there was 6 minutes left, which for me is just a little bit too close for comfort. There's clearly some support there, so it could trigger and go sideways a little bit. It could come to this area, see, so there's nothing worse than being stuck in a trade. You can't get out of it, and you're forced to get out at a loss before it has sort of chance to, to perform. I have a feeling this thing is going to drop quickly. When it starts flickering like that. This is torture, isn't it? Nothing worse when it's slow. I might have to go down to the 200 tick chart, I think, and get a little bit more movement there. There is actually a second entry short there. See, after that overshoot and the pullback, that was the new extreme, so technically that's played out, but it seems to be trying again, doesn't it? It's still got a slightly bullish feel to it, although it's going sideways, but it does seem to be doing this, doesn't it? But sometimes when it's really struggling to get up, the thing just drops like a stone. I thought we may get that there. But then it triggered that bar there, and it's still looking like it's pushing up, so... Still expecting a quick drop. Come on, speed up for God's sake. Do something. Come on, just drop quickly. Straight below there. Quick. I'm hoping it drops. Now it's up here. It drops below that EMA and then gives us a lower high. Okay, channel break, new high, so that's played out. And the big one's played up. So we've had that break, basically. So it could be 2 pushes to a new high. So, I don't know. 1 minute, it still kind of has a bullish feel to it, doesn't it? So you can't rule anything out, really. I have tried that a couple of times. Just not sure. It's just more sideways. I mean, it is working there, but it kind of... The sideways, really. Yeah. I mean, it is working on the bottom, but it's just as much sideways than it's up. Yeah. I mean, it could kind of like be a bull flag. I don't know, really. It's just trying to be aware of both, really. But if you take it away, it's just sideways, isn't it? But we are making sort of higher lows. Not so much higher highs. We've been up here, and then we're down here, and then we're up here. Yeah, there is. I thought when we eventually got above this thing was going to drop. I was expecting a big quick move down as well. Sometimes when we've already had the high, but it tries to go higher, and all of a sudden it'll just launch down and clear a lot of this out. I think the only thing you can be certain of is you never quite know what it's going to do. What trade did Marco take? He took that one there. On there. So we had a channel with a break, 2 pushes to a new high. I mean, I don't pick these really because I'm not very... Well, I just don't do a lot of it, so it's not my sort of area that I'm, particularly good at. I suppose we all have strengths and weaknesses. This is something I'm not... I'd say it's more of a weakness than a strength, that one. And if I was going to take a trade like that, I've seen them trigger push higher. I'd really want to push above this first and clear out, because sometimes it will, but... Marco's obviously a more experienced trader than me. He's helped me no end over a few years or so, 3 or 4 years I've been doing this. So I see him pick tops and bottoms all the time, and he seems to know what he's doing. So as I say, what looks like a good trade to me might not to someone else. You know, that there's so much grey area within this chart reading stuff. I mean, there's obvious trades, isn't there? You know, that to me was an obvious trade. Channel up with a break. You can clearly see 2 legs down, big strong move up, higher low. The only issue with that is 6 minutes before the news. But it's quite obvious that, isn't it? We've got a channel down here, a break, 3 pushes to a new low, or 2 pushes to a new low, and then we had a kind of a retest, and then a strong move up right above that EMA, came back. So I think that's an okay trade. The only issue I had with it was it's just so close to the news, so you'd never know when it's going to trigger and go sideways a bit and move to this side. And but that's the only trade I think I can really see that got me excited. I looked at this one, but if this is the bottom of that range, I don't want to be taking it off the bottom. As it happens, it did hold just by the skin of the teeth, because there was a second entry long there, and there was kind of 2 legs, so you can bet your bottom dollar there's going to be some stops below that line, but it did hold. Failing that, the other thing I noticed was the penguin style trade. We had a break, push up, spike and channel, so we had 2 attempts to push up. When that pushed strong below that EMA, for me, it was going to touch that bottom. And when I looked over on the penguin trade, the penguin trade one, you could see he took that same thing. We had that break, we had the push up, spike and channel, so it's clearly 2 pushes up, strong move below that EMA, and that's the penguin style stuff. So he took that. He took long on the way up, but that's what I saw. I tend to watch him and sort of earmark him. 2 pushes up, and he's got that arrow down. Although he never got in there, he may have missed it. I don't know. It went down relatively quickly. So I like to have this because I think it's good to pay attention to that, because so many of their trades, Mac will take, they're almost identical, but just slightly on a bigger scale. But so possible lower high, trap that bull bar. I don't know. This thing could go up, it could come down. I ain't got a clue. It's hard when it's going like this, because we kind of thought range day, but this thing could just come tumbling down. Most breakouts fail. We failed, but we only come down to here, and then we pushed up even higher. So I don't want to automatically take a short here, because, you know, price couldn't get below there. So you could even say a break, 2 pushes to a new high. That lower high for me is just, even if it forms, it's just risky. There's still a bullish feel to it, so thinking about going short at the moment is not, it's just not something I'm interested in, which is a shame. I've been going for nearly 3 hours, but it's just a shame about that one, really. So close to the news, otherwise I'd have had a go at that. I'm just trying to be super selective. I'll tell you something, mate. I'm going for 3 points. Even if you go for 2 points and you can get 2 trades a week, that's $400, $816. It's about $1,800 a month. Even if you had a couple of losses, 2 or 3 losses, it's still $1,000 a month. If you've got 20 accounts, it's a significant amount of money. And once you can get into that frame of mind of being able to just trade and trade and trade, you know, you trade, you win or lose, you move on, you trade, you win or lose, move on. You know, I've heard a lot of traders tell me over the years, over the sort of 4 years I've been doing this, you'll get that aha moment, you'll hold your patience, and you'll get success. And then it'll just reinforce, when you get a loss, forget it, move on. Because a lot of us are still quite experienced, they tend to affect us. And it is the losses that really do us the damage, because they get us in that frame of mind of increasing our risk psychologically. You know, we've all heard the book Best Loser Wins, and it's exactly right. If you're good at losing, well, let's rephrase that. If you can accept losses, I would say you're 80%. Obviously, you need some skills, course, but if you can accept losses, I think that's a big part, maybe 70 or 80, you're 80% there. Obviously, you need the skills to be able to do it, and that just comes, it's a numbers game. The more you do it, the better you get at it. It's like any type of trade where there's a real skill in it, whether you're a doctor or whatever. You know, you don't just become a doctor overnight. I think you go to medical school for 5 years, then you spend 2 years, you know, as a junior doctor, and then it can take you 7 years, I think, to get to be a doctor, really. Fully fledged doctor. But seeing patient after patient, it's the same sort of process. You know, you just got to keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and you grow with experience. And this is kind of very much like it. I don't want to sort of put us in the same category as doctors. I think they're quite educated, hard-working people. I certainly say they're sort of cleverer than traders, I would have said. But yeah, but just, you know, on that basis of the skill that takes a lot of time just to mature and to get good at. And I understand that, and I think understanding it's a big part of it. Understanding it and having that belief system that I just need to keep working, keep practicing, keep working, and you'll get to a stage where, you know, dealing with all that emotional stuff, what you're kind of forgetting in the background is your skill level is constantly growing as well. You tend to not focus on that. You know, you tend to sort of focus on the losses, and you spend half your time down here frustrated, but you tend to forget, you know, that's kind of moving up. And then at some point you'll hit that level where you're kind of a seesaw in effect, where it'll start to go in your favour and you'll start to grow. And then I think, from what I gather, you get that kind of realism that, wow, I've managed to do it and this thing's working. What's that Penguin Discord channel? That's it there, mate. I think it cost £30 a month or $30 a month. I paid for it once, and then I think they kind of allow you to stay in here. So I look at this from time to time because, you know, I'm kind of aware how he operates. Very similar to, I mean, that's kind of a second entry short, isn't it? But on a bigger scale. So I think it's $30 or something like that. And you join and you get access to this, and then I just stopped paying then, but then you're still allowed in here. But they're very similar to our trade, so it's a very, very kind of very similar system to ours, really, but slightly on a bigger scale. So I did consider a lower high here, but this thing is looking like it's starting to hold. So I rule that out at the moment. It's just not safe to do anything here, really. We could get a second entry long and this thing may go up. It has got a bit of a bullish feel to it, in all fairness. It's quite shallow. So I wouldn't say I trust it, but I trust it enough not to think about going short just at the moment. But that penguin style trading does make sense. Pushed up, 2 legs down. So it's hard to know whether this thing is going to come back into here. Well, I mean, come back into the meat of it, or whether it's going to still hold and push up some more. We're kind of still looking like we're sort of slowly working, aren't we? So this may be a trap to go short here. Let's see if this triggers, because that is a second entry long, and that would be a failure back into this. I'm just going to get an order open at the moment, just in case.
Order submitted.
I was hoping that second entry long might trigger and trap a short. Sorry, trap that long, but no, it's just coming down, isn't it? It's not giving us a chance, unfortunately. That's a shame. I thought we may have got an option there. Second entry long, trigger, bounce off this, come down. It's already moved now.
Order cancelled.
That would have worked nice as well. Triggered it, hit this line here. Nice failure, and then down. Just want to be aware of this. Real shame about that. If that had triggered there, I'd have really gone for that, and that would have been a nice trade, I think. Nice failure, second entry long. It's definitely looking like it's going up, but we've kind of had a break of this. Real shame, that. So I can micro adjust that. Let's see what happens here, if that is a channel. I mean, it hasn't really confirmed it as such, but it kind of looks okay. Well, that would be an overshoot, so... so it's triggered that bearish bar. Let's see where this goes. I have a feeling it may be a dry day today, again. Look where that's sat now. It's very tempting to take that. But although this is sitting on here, it's all below that line. This isn't. So it would just be taking a risk, that, and it's not something I really want to get into. It'd just be a feeling that could work. But the way it's triggered and this is starting to come down, it's why I didn't take it. I mean, it might be a flip of a coin, that. I know it sat on there. When we had that one, we pushed up, same there. But I don't really want to get involved there. For me, that feels like a punt. And I'm trying to get out of that frame of mind of having a go at something. Which on the daily chart looks like we will pop or collapse anytime. That's you've hit the hammer on the nail there, mate. Looks like we could pop or collapse at any time. It's just not clear, is it? I mean, this thing could come absolutely tumbling down, but it is going sideways, but we are making slightly higher highs. But it's not convincing enough that this thing's going up. We've had a lot of this lately, a lot of this just whipping up and down. Yeah, I know what you're saying, the daily, but that's my point. You said it looks like it could pop or collapse, so it looks like it could either shoot up or shoot down, but it's giving you mixed signals. That's the sort of answer. Could go up, could go down, and this is giving us exactly the same thing. It's just a bit unclear. So it may hold there, but it may not. Not only that, if this is a range, we've had a break out of it like that, often we'll get the opposite side. We did there, small break there, and we had the opposite one there. So you could argue that that's that. Or if we had it how it was, this is an overshoot. Bullish bar off the bottom. Same again for me. Same scenario, picking tops and bottoms. It's not as low as I'd like. If I was going to pick that, I'd want the bottom of that bar sat on top of it with that tail below it. If that was going to interest me in the slightest. Because we've had a break out the top. And we often get one the opposite end. See on this other, oh no, sorry, no mistake. Yeah, because of this break above here, I can't go long here anyway. Well, it's gone too big now anyway, because it could trigger you. Channel, break, new low. $16 ticks, tick above, tick below. Too much, really. I mean, we're not in that, we're at the midline here, so this could... That channel, that looks like it's got a break, so it could come down and break below here. But that overshoot at this side, or the failed breakout there, quite often get one the opposite side. We had one here, 2 legs up, we had one there. So, it's not easy to trade this, in all fairness. How long have been going? 3 hours and 10 minutes. Let's give it another 10 minutes. Oh. Mm. Okay, I think I'm done for today, folks. It's been about 3.25 hours now. It's just been another hard day, really. It's just such a shame that was so close, that news. There was kind of a second entry long there, but for me, it's off that bottom, and they're a bit risky, that, because sometimes they'll trigger you and come down, and I was hoping this would come down to this area, which may have interested me. But it just continued on sideways before it hit that line perfectly, and then woof, up it went. It's just trading this is so hard. Marco took that one there. Same again. Not ideal for me. I mean, bearing in mind this top was lower at the time, but I've extended it a little bit. But it's just not easy. You can get chopped up so easy. Yeah? It's a range from 7 points to top to bottom. And obviously, if you're taking a trade already 2 points in, it doesn't leave you a lot of room. It's just such a slow day. We may have a lot of this leading up to next Tuesday. Once these elections are done and dusted, hopefully start to do something, or start to. I mean, obviously, as a rule, the ES is constantly moving up. Obviously, with the exception of the odd pullback here and there, but generally, it's bullish over time. So hopefully. I mean, it's still kind of like a bull flag, isn't it? It's going up and going sideways, so have a look. This thing could end up doing something like that, couldn't it? And we could end up here by the end of the day. Taking out Monday's high, yesterday's highs. We came down, didn't we? Fill that gap, and then ever since we sort of broke below there, 4 or 5 points, we've been moving up. So there is a chance we could have a wider channel there, but it's just you can't really put that in at the moment. It's a bit too dangerous. So that is it for me, folks. If you're carrying on trading, good luck. But I have a feeling it's just going to be more of this for some time. So good luck if you are carrying on. I hope we get out of this damn thing. Failing that, I'll be back tomorrow. So have a great evening. Stay safe. And we'll do it all again tomorrow. Bye for now.